Hey everyone, Susan Campfield here. Happy Tuesday tutorial. Today we're going to do a fun fold card called a gatefold explosion card. At least that's what I'm calling it. So I'm excited you're here to join me, and let's go ahead and get started. Hey Jean, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera here, and you're going to see my ceiling for just a moment. Hi Verla, and then we'll get started. So hold on one second. Move my lamp there. Ceiling, my fingers, not very exciting, I know, but let's get this clamped in here. Slide this over just a little bit so that I can, whoa, tipping, we're tipping. All right, there we go. So welcome everyone. I'm so glad you're here tonight. Today we're going to use some super fun stuff. All right, it is really hot here. It's obviously August 25th, and it's very Augusty weather out there. So it is, let's see, right now 86 degrees outside, very humid, very sticky, hot, hot, hot. And so what better way to cool down than to play with some snowflakes, right? That was my thinking anyway. So the card I'm going to share with you just did for my technique class, although most of them don't have their packets yet. And my team also did it for our directs make and take. So which we just did on Zoom right before this. So these are, this is the bundle option right here, which is the 110, Karen. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're Arizona, right? Hot, hot, hot. Yeah, it's always hot when school starts, and I feel bad at the elementary schools because they usually don't have air conditioning. Not that you need it in Minnesota most of the time, but usually when school starts. Our regular schools don't start till next week. My son, who just graduated last year, just started college yesterday, actually, but it's distance learning, so he's in his bedroom doing college. It's kind of a weird thing, but hey, Sally from Stillwater, how are you? Oh, thanks for sharing, Deb. I really appreciate that. So we're going to do a fun fold card with these fun things, and we're going to all just feel a lot cooler afterwards, right? Look at this folder. Oh, it's gorgeous, especially when it's been embossed. So I'm going to slide these aside, just like that. And I'm going to bring in my parts and pieces here so that we can look at our different paper sizes and what we need to do this fun fold card. So this is our card base, and so it is 4 1/4 by 11, and I scored it at 2 3/4, and then again at 8 1/4, and that's going to give me that typical gatefold card, but this is going to be anything but a typical card because we're going to have some fun stuff inside. So our card base again is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 2 3/4 and 8 1/4. Our layer piece for the front is embossed with this, yeah, it's my favorite sweet too, Verla, just so gorgeous. Embossed with this Snowflake Wonder, is that what this one's called? Gorgeous, gorgeous folder, just white on white, and that's going to layer on the front of our card. And then, let's see here, what else do we have? We've got these two pieces that are going to go inside. This is, I think it's 2 1/2. I better not just guess, right? Let's grab a ruler and check this out. 2 1/2 by 2 1/2, and this is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And this piece, I'm using Balmy Blue. Now, depending on which of the patterns that you use from this gorgeous paper, and I will tell you that all of the patterns in this paper will work, you might want to use a different color. So, like, for instance, if I was using this pattern, I maybe would pick up on that pretty Pacific Point color there, which is right here in a snowflake version, just for a little more pop. This one's a more subtle, so I went with the Balmy Blue. So again, it just depends on your paper and which pattern you're using and which color you want to focus on, right? So one other piece that I have here, I don't know if I have, okay, I do have one that's not been punched. So this one is 3/4 wide by, it's 4 1/4 long, but we are going to punch it. I am absolutely in love. Anyone else in love with this pick a punch, pick a banner. You can use any, all these. You get, it's 6 punches in one. That's what I'm trying to say. It's awesome. I personally am really into fishtails right now, so but the other side is good too. So whatever your preference is, and you can punch that either before or after you you stamp. It's totally up to you on how you want to do that. All right, now let's look at these pieces, right? These are the, this is going to be a belly band, and this is going to be the insert that explodes out. So the belly band is 12 inches long by 1 inch, and we're going to do some scoring on that. And the exploding part is 4 by 11. So, 4 inches wide, it's 12 inches, 12-inch paper. You can get 4 out of a sheet, but of course then you also need to get your belly bands. So keep that in mind. So the belly band's a little bit longer than our insert piece, and we're going to score this as well. So let's start with the scoring. We are going to be doing some diagonal scores, so I'm going to use my paper trimmer to do that. And so I'm going to just put my piece in here, and I'm going to score at 2 3/4. And I'm going to actually remove, ouch, oh, I just cut myself. Okay, that's not good. No, it's not a bad cut, but I don't want to bleed on my card. So yeah, be careful when you're taking this out, because that little sucker is sharp. Not too bad. Okay. I just want to remove my cutting blade because I accidentally, in my last video, cut instead of scored. So I don't trust myself now. Hold on. I have to grab a tissue because I don't want to bleed on my card. Okay. So we're going to go at 2 3/4 and score. Oops, that one's not in. There we go. Do you hear it snap in there? So I'm going to just score at the 2 3/4 mark, and then I'm going to slide over to 5 1/2. I'm just laughing at myself because of course I cut myself. What else would I do on a live video, right? I'm going to go over to 8 1/4, and I'm going to score again. All right, so just to recap, we just scored at 2 3/4, 5 1/2, and then 8 1/4. And checking if I can let go of the Kleenex yet. Nope, can't do it. All right, so now we're going to do some diagonal score. This is where the paper trimmer is a beautiful thing. I tend to use the scoring tool a lot for scoring, but when you're doing diagonal scores, paper trimmer is your friend, really. So what I want to do is I want to diagonally score from this upper left corner down to the center fold line. Or center score line, excuse me. So you can see it right there. I have to hold it up because it's not always obvious. So from this corner to that center score line, honestly, I don't think ever in my life have cut myself on my paper trimmer, but of course this is the kind of day I'm having. Okay, sorry, crack myself up. All right, we're just gonna score there. So can you see that? If I hold it up, that diagonal score, there, I think you can. Okay, so we're just going from this point down to that point. And it's so easy with a trimmer because you've got the track here. So I'll do the other one now. I'm going to line up the center, the top center, with the left lower point. So the track is where it scores. So I just make sure, am I off camera there? I make sure that that score is right in the track. And the bottom one is right in the track. And then I just score. So if I tilt that up so you can see. So now we have basically a big X right here, which is exactly what we want. And now we're going to repeat the same thing on this side. We're going to make a big X. So I'm going to do the upper corner with the center line, center score line. So I'm going to line those up. I realize I'm off camera a little bit for that. Trust me, it's doing the same thing where it's just lined up in that center track. And I'm going to rotate it. Don't even know if I can fit it all in the camera. I don't think it's even possible. And we're going to score here. Hey, it seems some of my team members are tuning in that weren't on our Zoom call. So awesome! You were able to see how to do the make and take packet you're going to get in the mail, guys. So can you see that's another big X on that side? So we've got an X here and an X there. All right. So before I get rid of my trimmer, I'm going to go ahead and score my belly band. So the belly band, I may or may not still be bleeding. I'm going to try it. I think it stopped. We're going to go, like scared to touch the paper now, right? So I'm going to score this at 2 3/4. And then I'm going to slide it this way and score it another 1/8 of an inch. So what would that be? 2 5/8. Okay, so that's going to give me 2 little scores. This is the belly band for the card. And so it's now going to be thicker to cover the thickness of the card. Does that make sense? So now on the other side, I'm going to just flip it around and do the same thing, right? I'm going to score at 2 3/4. Okay, it's holding, guys. It's holding. Whew. And then slide over a 1/8 of an inch and score again. So that's going to, again, give me that little wiggle room, I guess we can call it, right? It's a little bit wider that way for our card. Except this is not long enough. Why is this not? Did I just did that wrong? Okay, don't do that. All right. 2 3/4. I should have scored it. My bad. I should have scored it at 8 1/4. 2 3/4 and 8 1/4. And then again out at 8 3/8. Ignore this one. It'll be at the back. Nobody will ever notice, right? So we've got that. Your goal is you want this piece to be 5 1/2. All right. I'm going to set that aside and let's fold this. So when we're folding this, this is our goal. This is our end goal for the inside of our card. So to do that, we want the straight folds to be what we call mountain folds, but we're not going to fold on the center one. So we're going to fold the left one so it's a mountain, and that just means it's a mountain coming towards us. This is the pattern I want to show on the inside of my card. And then I'm going to fold this one on the far right, mountain. I don't need to fold the center one at all. If you accidentally do, it's not a big deal. It's going to be covered up by your layer, but just know that you don't need to fold that one. So I have this folded, both of these folded as a mountain, and I'm going to fold the diagonal ones so that they're valley folds, which means that they go down, okay? So we've got our mountain and our 2 valleys, and they're just going to collapse in to form our explosion. All right, I hope that's making sense. So bear with me here, and I think it'll make more sense. We're going to again do the same thing here, where the straights is the mountain, and we're doing the diagonals as a valley. So again, it's just going to collapse in on itself and fold in. And I'm going to fold it all together. Now, it quite often will be just a little bit wonky, a little bit off, but just straighten it up, take your bone folder, and just recrease it in a little bit more of a straight box, not box, what is that? Diamond shape, okay? So that's our mechanism inside that's going to explode out. So we're going to take our card base here and we're going to adhere this inside, and we're going to do that in 2 steps. So you can see that this fits exactly in with that score line, okay? And so because it's so tight, I want to have a little wiggle room, so I'm going to actually use the liquid glue, and that's going to give me the ability to just kind of slide it around if it ends up not being right where I want it. Whereas with a tape runner, once I stick it down, Seal Plus, if you're using the snail, whatever, it's a little less forgiving. And so once it's down, it's probably not going to move on you if you need to adjust it. So this way I can just slide it over a little bit and then hold it down to adhere. And you can see it meets right up with that score. So again, we'll just fold this over. And if we have to adjust that score a little bit, we can do that with the bone folder. So now I want to attach these two. And you can see when I'm putting this liquid glue on, I'm staying well in from the edges because I don't want any ooze. I don't want this squishing out and making a mess. So I did not put any out here because that's going to spread out when I squish it down. Does that make sense? Hope it does. All right, so we're going to rub that down. So now that's going to hold on to that side so that when it opens, it pops out, right? And then it just collapses in the same way. So now we're going to go over here. Add some liquid glue here. All right. I'm not usually a big, I have to admit, I'm not usually a big liquid glue person, but this one, it's a really good one to use, something that will give you that flexibility to shift things around. So I'm just going to hold that down for a second while that gets adhered on there. And then you can see when it opens, it sort of explodes, right? It's an explosion of snowflakes. Whee! Fun, right? It is fun. Yay! All right, so because you tend to have a little bit of what I call kind of messiness here, you know, it'll stick out a little bit. That's why we're going to add the layer. It's just going to cover up any little imperfections that are in the center so that you can't see that. Of course, when we glue on our layer, we only want to glue it on this side, right? Because we want to be able to open the card. So I'm going to just grab my Seal Plus here, and I'm just going to put some 2 long strips down the one side, okay? And adhere that on. Almost got it straight, not forgiving, so we got it on there. All right, and then we're going to do our belly band. And this is one where you could do tear and tape there, liquid glue. You know, I'm going to use the Seal Plus, which is strong. This is just lighter weight paper, so I don't know that it has to be super strong adhesive, but you know, it's going to be pulled on and off the card a lot, so it wouldn't be a bad idea to do tear and tape or something like Seal Plus. It's a little stronger. I will strongly recommend that you actually wrap the belly band around the card before you adhere it down, and you want to make sure it's loose enough they can get the card off. So I'm not pulling it tight. I'm actually pushing it out a little bit before I stick that down so that it's nice and movable. Of course, yours won't have this ugly second score on it. That, you know what? I should make that the front, right? I can cover it up. Oh, good idea, guys. All right, let's do it that way. We'll cover up our boo-boo. Can always cover our boo-boos, right? So we've got our front, but now we need to make it gorgeous, right? So we've got our fun mechanism inside, and we're just going to do our decorating, and that's always the fun part. So for the front here, I've taken some of these fun dies, and those are the So Many Snowflake dies, and there really are so many snowflakes in there. So it was hard to pick, but what I did is I used this one, and then I cut one out of the new Balmy Blue Glimmer paper. How fun is that? To layer on top. So let's grab a glue dot and stick those together. Hey, Kathy, thanks for tuning in. And we're going to stick that down here like so. And then we have this super delicate little snowflake. And then this is the blue gems that are available in that suite right in the center. And that's going to go good with my balmy blue theme I have going here. So we're going to pop that right on top. There we go. And then I'm going to add some ribbon. I know I have a piece of it here. Okay, so this is this, what's it called? Iridescent? Is that what it's called? Snowflake Splendor ribbon. It's just not called iridescent, but it is. If you can see the sparkle and shine to that. So we're just going to twist that like the cancer awareness ribbons. This is so gorgeous. I mean, you could make this to be a pin to go on your lapel for the holidays. I mean, it's just so pretty, these dies. So I've just got that shaped up like so. I used a glue dot to hold the two pieces together, as you probably noticed. I'm going to use another glue dot here on the end. Aren't they pretty, Melissa? They're just so pretty. And then I'm just going to pop that on the back so that you can see the loop on one side, and then you've got the tails coming out on the other. And you can trim those down if you want. Totally up to you. I have a goal here to cover up my boo-boos, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp my greeting first. Let's see. Anyone see where I put the piece? I punched a piece. Aha! Found it. All right, and then we're going to grab some of the stamps from this set. So I'm going to use the Snowflake Wishes. Now, this one this one has a lot of Balmy Blue and Pool Party. So I'm going to use Balmy Blue ink to stamp my greeting. And it's right here, Susan, right in front of your face. There we go. That's okay, Kathy, you made it. That's the important part, right? Now this is a photopolymer stamp set, so I am going to grab this little cushion here. And I want to stamp it, I want my greeting down near that fishtail end of the punch because my, my snowflake is going to be attached down here, okay? So I've got my Snowflake Wishes for a Merry Christmas. And then my inside greeting, I'm going to use another one from the set, which is the May Your Season Sparkle. And when you put in your inside piece, and this is that 2.5 by 2.5, it's actually going to go in like a diamond shape. So make sure you stamp your greeting appropriately. And then we're going to add a little sparkle. It says sparkle, so we're going to grab some snowflakes here. And need a little piece to stamp off on here. There we go. Love these little grid papers. So I'm actually going to stamp that off and then add my snowflakes. So they're just very pale, light snowflakes. Like so, but I do want to add a little sparkle. So these actually are not on the same page in the holiday catalog or in the mini catalog as the other snowflake things. They are in the mini catalog, but they're on a different page. These are adhesive back snowflakes. So they go with a lot of our things in the mini catalog, but they go particularly well, I think, with this snowflake suite. And these are, I don't know if you can see, they're iridescent and they're all different colors. And so I'm just going to put a few of those in just to add a little more sparkle to my inside piece. And one more, why not, right? Put it right, oh, right there, how about? All right, so now we've got a little sparkle on the inside. If I tilt that, I think you can see it. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that down. Can move this out of the way. So let's bring our card back in. That's going to go right inside. Oh no! End of the roll. Darn. That's okay. We've got seal here. That was the Seal Plus, so time to reload. All right, so that's going to go right inside in the center, okay? By the way, I got the idea for this. There was a German demonstrator who posted a similar card on there's a great group that's just for demonstrators, and hers was a large square card that wouldn't fit in any envelopes that we have, but I loved the exploding idea, so I changed up the fold and redesigned it to fit in a standard size card. So that's going to close down, and we're just going to decorate up that belly band. So I'm going to add my fun snowflakes here to the belly band piece with a couple dimensionals. You knew I would get the dimensionals in there at some point, right? So I probably should put them on the snowflake and not on the paper. Hopefully I can cover that up. Sure I can, right? So this is just going to be coming in here from the side. Tilt that a little bit. There we go. And then I'm just going to adhere that onto my piece. Now I do like to take my bone folder, which has now left the building. It's okay, I've got more than one. And I like to curl this down and then curl the tip up so that it kind of forms a slope, I guess. And then we're going to stick that on. So you can use glue dots for this. I'm actually going to put a glue dot there, and I'm going to add a dimensional here. That's going to help hold that ribbon on just a little bit more. But I want to make sure I get it in the right spot. So I'm going to put it onto this piece. And if you want to add a glue dot on the other end of your banner, you can sure do that. I'm going to skip that part. And there you've got your belly band. That's just going to slide onto your card. So you slide that off and then explodes out like this. Yay! So let me show you one more version of that with a different paper in the pack. This one I used the Pacific Point ink because this pattern had more of the Pacific Point in it. So when you open this one, it explodes out like that, and I layered it with Pacific Point. So both gorgeous. This one I didn't even add the sequins to, so lots of options there. But there we have our exploding gatefold card. Thanks so much for tuning in tonight. I'm going to flip the camera so I can say goodbye. Hold on. Take it out of my stand here. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. I hope you have a great evening, and go create something fun and have a relaxing night. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.